In the 1920s, prosperity had ended, the economic boom and jazz age were over, and America began the period called Great Depression. The 1920s represented an era of change and growth. Boxing was a very popular sport in the 1920s. Thousands of people attended to watch, both for men and women. World heavyweight champion Jack Dempsey dominated the sport through much of the decade. Harness racing, in which a driver rode a small cart called a sulky, was also staged, but was only very popular in small pockets of the United States. Baseball was very popular in the 1920s. The colorful Ruth hit more home runs than any other player had ever hit. He excited fans with his outgoing personality. Food during the 1920s. Weirdly enough, Chinese food and clam broth was very popular back in the day. Everyone thought it was very exceptional and good to eat. For a very common meal during the 1920s, your main dish would be ham, with a side of stuffed celery. Another commonly ordered side was walnut bread. For dessert, people would mainly order caramel custard. After the First World War, the Roaring Twenties were a time of change. Personal expression and the rebellious thought of influential avant-garde movements dominated the 1920s art. As a modernist movement, Expressionism originated in Germany, the 1920s art period. Intentionally as a style in both poetry and painting, it emphasized the presentation of the world both externally and internally, solely through subjective art. Pop culture during the 1920s was characterized by the flapper, automobiles, nightclubs, movies, and jazz. Life moved fast as a new sense of prosperity and freedom emerged at the end of World War I. The 1920s historical overview. The 1920s were an age of dramatic social and political change. For the first time, more Americans lived in cities and on farms. The nation's total wealth more than doubled between 1920s and 1929. This economic growth swept many Americans into an affluent but unfamiliar consumer society.